Well, I'll start over.
Start over and robust.
Usually I always use my outside voice, so.
Yeah, you're very good at
Okay.
it. You've also had a very busy weekend.
I did. It was
So.
really busy, so. So we'll call the Admin and Finance Standing Committee meeting to order for Monday, July 27th. In attendance today, we have Chelsea Cheapen, Mayor Dave Westwood, City Clerk Lonnie Hanson, City Treasurer, City Clerk, and Hope Smith. And I'm not seeing anyone online at this time. Hopefully some other people will join. Jeremy is out for the day and tomorrow. So, approve the meeting minutes for July 13th, 2026. Did you get a chance to review those? I know Jeremy usually just takes out the next steps.
Yeah, I think just taking out the next steps on the
Okay.
whole, it's crazy how good they do.
Yeah, definitely.
I just need that for my day-to-day life.
I know.
Meeting
Okay.
recap.
Well, I move to approve those minutes minus the next steps.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Amend the resolution number of Resolution 3746, hiring of attorneys, to Resolution 3749. So, basically, we have to do this because we use the same resolution number for two resolutions, so
Yep.
one of them had to be changed. So that's pretty basic.
And it's just a clerical thing that happens from technology. And there was, the other one of the two was something that's already been sent to the state, so that was why we selected this one.
So we couldn't change the other ones, we're changing this one?
Yeah,
Okay.
the other one was a bond resolution.
Okay.
For the closing.
Okay. And so it doesn't change the fact that the resolution has been passed, all we're doing is changing the number? Okay. Perfect. Annexation to Rural Fire District Number 7, update. The mayor.
So, I do not have a written opinion yet. There are some contract edits that are, going to be proposed by the attorney. The short version is they are telling us, yes, we are still good to go. There was some questions raised in the previous resolution about how do we make sure that the city maintains its right to ownership, and basically how do we protect the city, which I absolutely agree with. However, at that point, the proposal was that the city had to own the asset, and the attorneys are saying, no, what we just need to do is have a clause, like if they choose to dispose of an asset, we have first right of refusal. Basically something, it meets all of the objectives, but it just works a whole lot better. But the working assumption is that we are still planning on being able to use resort tax to help pay for a portion of that. So presuming that council is okay with that, we will get that moving forward, and that will be part of our whole budget thing as we go forward.
Okay.
There'll be a separate action to approve the new agreement, but that agreement is not done yet.
Okay. And so, will we have that in next week's,
I think so.
or not next week's, but the next
the
city?
next time around. I
Because
hope
we
so.
have to adjust the budget then?
Yeah,
Okay. Because we have not adjusted the budget to account for that yet, correct?
correct.
Okay.
That's my understanding, Lonnie, right? You're still doing
Yeah,
it without it.
Yeah, I still have in there just.
So that's basically reflects a $7 million improvement in the general, whatever that ends up being, which we still don't know. We'll find out first of the month.
Should be first part of next week, I would think.
Okay.
We'll have our.
So by the next meeting, we should know our mill answer.
Okay.
And hopefully it will be such that the fire department is still good to move forward with that, and I think they will be.
Okay.
Meaning hopefully it's not something that they came back and increase their demands, but
Dave, are you doing it as a millage or dollar?
so it's converting over to dollar going forward and forever. So if they did it to like 240 for the first year or something, it's basically the 21 mills of last year's value, and then it goes up by the same amount that everything else does. So if it's, let's say it's 12.3% of our general budget, it will forever and always be 12.3% of our general budget, because it will both escalate at the same rate.
But coming out of resort tax though,
Then the resort tax portion is a percentage, so that can change.
okay.
And that's, quite frankly, that's what they're banking on, is that as that changes, that's where they will get their dollars
Okay.
to be able to keep up without necessarily having to go and ask for more dollars
Okay.
via the voters.
Remind me how many, what the percentage is they want from resort tax, 10?
10, yeah.
It's 10%, and it's calculated on the previous years, which is kind of what we do with other stuff too.
And, yeah, anyway, continue.
Okay. Okay.
Mentally breaking that down in my head of resort tax dollars, but.
Well, the most important impact and very real impact of resort tax dollars is once we spend money on that, that's money that's not available
Right.
for parks projects, and other things that are there.
Right.
Which is, in fairness, where most of our resort tax is going.
Well, and in this case, because we put that in the budget, I mean, it did limit how we could spend it. You know, we ended up telling the tennis courts, if we have extra, we'll give you some, but right now we're at the 200,000.
And I'm not inclined to do extra just because, and partially
Yeah.
because I was counting on being able to use this, or at least accommodating that we can do this. But I also think for all of these groups, that it's incumbent of them to come up with, the lion's share of funding, or to come up, so, I have no problem with contributing city funds to it, because the city does benefit. But I think,
Well, and it's a city park.
yeah,
I mean,
but I
For
also
everyone.
think that if somebody's wanting to utilize it for something that is particular to one group or another, that they, just like the pool, half of that was donations. Tennis, there's a lot of donations. The ice, presumably our ask is gonna be that there's a lot of donations,
right,
so.
yes. And I'm not opposed to that at all. I'm just, but also resort tax, is available for parks and recreation as
Yep.
well, so. But yeah, I mean, it's just something to keep in mind that, that's a prime example, it limits how we can
Yeah.
divvy that money up.
So
and we
Chelsea, did
use
I
that.
understand the question? And did
But I didn't
answer
have
it?
a question, so yeah.
I did have, well, you
You
said I'm
did,
trying to wrap
the-
my brain around it.
Yeah, the only, the only question I had was what the percentage was, that was it.
Yeah.
So yes, you definitely answered it.
And then some.
And then.
Okay. All right, anything else on that? Okay, city administrator position update.
Yeah, so I have a follow-up with Dan Clark. Let me pull up my notes so I can do it. And this was specifically in response to a letter that we all received from the previous city attorney that said his reading of the charter was that it was administrative assistant, which basically meant they could answer phone calls and check schedules, full stop. And it said he absolutely cannot have any supervisory roles. I told council I would reach out and have a conversation with Dan Clark to double check my previous conversation and understandings. I think I'd also indicated that staff had indicated they didn't want a supervisory position. But I also relayed on that council had said that they had very clearly indicated they did want a supervisory position. Dan's response was, he provided 73212, but it's also the same language in our charter that very clearly says assist in the supervision. He did clarify that position does not have executive authority, but that the mayor can delegate any administrative and advisory responsibilities, but the mayor is still responsible to the voters. So that's the part that ties into the law. He listed off several other municipalities that do that: Deer Lodge, Laurel, Libby, Missoula, most of the counties. And he talked about basically the same things about why they do it, which is the same thing council has said, consistency and continuity in operations. And I told them that the plan was that we would finish developing that job description and then have council sign off on the job description. He said he thought that was wonderful. And then I said, well, there's kind of people who will be complaining about that. He said, great, they can go to the judicial branch and ask them for clarification. So basically, if we put it in and there's somebody who feels that it's inappropriate or not in line with the charter, he says, let them sue the city and then take that up to the judicial. But he felt very comfortable with how it would turn out because there's lots of other municipalities who have the same language and do the same thing we're proposing. My guess is what I would like to do is probably schedule, and I haven't talked to start scheduling the time, but I'd like to see if they could be available in 2 weeks. Do you anticipate that we could kind of talk about the roughed out version of a job description?
Who will be available?
The consultant, have them attend
Oh,
remotely.
okay. I wasn't sure if you were saying the attorney or the consultant. Thank you.
No, the consultant,
Okay.
to see if they're available in the next meeting, or do we need to get through budget stuff first and do that
No,
in a separate meeting, or how do you want to do this?
Our budget seems to be I mean, we've already gone through the budget, we're just waiting for the couple big pieces of information, the mills and things like that.
And the other thing that I will add to that is I feel pretty comfortable and happy with our developed budget. The part that I'm not happy with, and again, this will be the last year this ever happens ideally, is I don't feel happy yet with the ability to relay that on to the public the way that I'd like to at the full breakdown level, and that's just administration and how to present that in a slideshow. So that's either my time or the time of an assistant, that I can develop a slide or two and say, here's what it is, make the whole budget look like that. And there's a possibility we may be able to get to that, but that to me is one of the major things I wanted to do while I'm here that has not been done yet. So maybe it's one of those things that says I got to run another term so we can get that done and made it so it's really easy to duplicate year to year to year. But
Right.
I'm not, I'd like to have that part done and out to the public right now a month before we get there, and I don't see that happening with all the other stuff going on right now.
No. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. It'd be nice to have the budget more clear. You know, we post the budget, but it's very, the printing on it is super faint. I mean, I have a hard time even reading it. Just, and I don't know why that is. It's not.
Is there something you think that we can do that make it darker, or
That's how they,
so
that's how.
it's just a gray, light gray font sort of thing, like it's grayed out?
It's a Black Mountain.
Thing, yeah. But it's just, it's really, you know, and it's really small, and I get that, you know. It's just like,
End of the day, I just
it's
don't,
just a lot for people who don't understand
The part
budget.
that I want to see
Yeah.
is that
I was gonna say, even if it was darker font, I don't think that's gonna help them understand it.
No.
no, I still want pie charts that basically say, here's how much it is, and by the way, here's the last 5 years trailing, so you can see what it is. Here's where the money's coming from, resort tax, property tax,
Right.
fees.
And I think, yeah, I think it definitely, some type of reporting format like that, kind of like what we've done with resort tax.
Yeah.
That would definitely.
Well, I hope more clear than that, but.
Yeah, but yeah, no, see, like in the documents, in the packet, it's fairly dark, but it's just when we get our hard copy, it's really faint for some reason, I don't know why. I'll just use the online version, like, but yeah, it's not user-friendly at all, and I would definitely, I know Jeremy also felt the same, you know, there's other cities that have templates out there of their budgets that are fairly, a lot more easy to read than ours is.
And I think, as far as Lonnie, let's wait until we get that letter from the, I mean, we're gonna get that additional information
Mhm.
on mills next week, and by that time, we should also have the written from the attorney. So I think as far as going back and adjusting I think we already have it built into the resort tax, so we just didn't build it into general. So we should be able to have real numbers. I think both of those don't need to be done like today, but I think for the next meeting, we should get both of those in there.
Yeah, and the only thing, that I don't remember, having in there, did we have the target amounts that we wanted in there?
When you say target amounts,
I just remember prior years, we had target, dollar amounts that we wanted in each budget, like general fund. We wanted it to be under a certain amount, and remember?
I think what you're remembering is resort tax specific? Because
No, it was the,
Are
it
you
was the,
talking about that other spreadsheet that shows, like,
what the bill, the resolution would look like.
appropriation, yeah, what the appropriation is, the reserve, and then the total. And then, is that the one you're thinking of? Because I don't,
maybe it was from a couple of years ago, and I'm just remembering way back, before we went to this format, where we had the target amount that that general fund had to be under.
Yeah.
And we had the target fund that resort tax had to be under, and we had the target funds that, you know, every department had a target that they had to stay under. So we knew if we were meeting the budget, but I guess,
that might have been that
N-
spreadsheet that I used to, like, I put in what's allocated.
okay.
And then the reserve, and then do the.
That could be, because we had the cash balances plus minus the spending plus the income, and it had to be,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then add the-
And that's basically where our draft resolution comes from. Can we have that ready, do you think, by next time?
It just, yeah,
because we'll have all the information.
I just have to.
And then I'll try to put together because I would like to do a presentation, I just don't, it'd be prior to the actual meeting. So I'll.
Well, and I would kind of like to just, you know, it would be good to put out there too what the cash balance is, like of the general fund, you know, how much we're keeping in reserve, you know, just to have that information and how much we're going to be spending.
So that people know we don't live in Miles City.
Yeah, exactly. So that if we have one bad year, we're not gonna be, you know, shutting everything
And
down.
it's on that spreadsheet. that
Okay,
shows,
yeah,
what's or what's requested
right,
in the general fund.
yeah. And what we, our expected income, then we'll know that
Yeah,
with the
it'll have
mills.
The cash balance, like
Yeah.
what we're expecting coming in with revenue, and then the.
Okay,
So I think that's the worksheet that you're describing.
yeah,
Like I said, I just said, ask if we can have that ready,
that,
which will basically be 2 weeks
Okay.
early.
okay. So, yeah, I guess back to your question, if we want to hit, I mean, I know they're both very important. I mean, if we want to hit, we can have all of that by the next meeting. It would be good to have just this meeting go over the budget.
Just budget presentation.
And then the next time we'll have the budget pretty much finalized then, as far as this committee is concerned, except for some minor changes probably. And then the next one, we can hit the job description.
Okay, so basically what I'm hearing is, we'll plan for that, we'll
What do you
focus
think,
on
Chelsea?
budget next time, and then the
Yeah.
job description we'll do 4 weeks out.
Okay.
Yeah, I would much rather do the job description 4 weeks out and have that be a bigger conversation as well and be able to
Yeah,
go
so
through
it's
that
not
line
just
by
10
line.
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. All right,
Plan accordingly.
so, yeah, perfect. Budget review, there weren't very many changes to this. I mean, we've already kind of talked about it a little bit, our
You
timeline.
added in the 16.5 for this consultant, and is it
Yeah, that-
16.5 or 20, which
I
is
put-
above what we
I
approved?
put 20 in there under planning, I don't remember what the object number
So,
was.
so there's two separate things there. One is how much we put in the budget for planning purposes. The other is
Yeah.
what we pass in the resolution.
Yeah.
So in order to get to 20, we have to come to council and say, we're spending some money on print or on flying contestants out here or whatever.
Yep, I just wanted to verbalize
Applicants,
it.
I guess is the correct word.
Okay. Okay,
Today's world.
okay. Anything else on the budget, Lonnie, that you want to talk about?
No, like, there's some of the smaller funds, you know, like gas tax and PRS, those kind of funds.
Right,
You guys don't have those yet, but those are pretty well set as far as like gas tax, whatever we bring in gas tax, that's what their budget goes off of, so I mean, gas tax can only be spent on streets and sidewalks.
right.
So that one's,
Oh, it can be spent on sidewalks too?
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just streets and, because I know we've done a couple of alley projects and we've done a couple of
yeah,
half streets
the
and,
majority of the stuff that's been, or I guess not gas tax, maybe this one. But yeah, like the alleys that are getting paved.
Yep.
Snow plowing pretty much only comes out of gas tax, like the fuel during the winter, gas tax pays for that. But there's some money in there for asphalt and things for patching. So there'll be some other smaller funds that I'll have all done by the next time.
okay,
And then I'll have the two spreadsheets that you guys always approve for the resolution for the budget.
perfect.
I'll get all those done.
All right. All right. Any other comments or questions on the budget? No? Any? Okay. Okay, well, this is going to be quick today.
I will take my marching order, like I said, I will see how much of that presentation we can have ready in the next 2 weeks,
Okay,
before our next meeting, particularly kind of making that other not as rushed of a deal.
okay. All right. Yeah, and I think it would be, you know, that spreadsheet that we approve is also a very important part of that presentation, you know,
Yeah.
to let people know we do have you know, what our reserve is. Are we adding to our reserve? Are we, you know, kind of spending everything we have? That type of thing. I know general fund is kind of not we usually end up spending most of it.
The other thing, and I noticed we didn't really put it on this admin and finance agenda, it is on the regular main agenda. Are there any questions about the, closed meeting tonight and then the 3750 resolution? Which is basically just making sure that there's not ambiguity about whether the mayor has council's permission to dismiss the department head known as the city attorney.
Like it's a little, mistimed.
By the way, there was another question I had follow up with Dan on that, because talking about the 2-year sort of a thing, his recommendation is, that's set by code, which is there until we as a self-governing city do something different. He said, you guys can easily pass a resolution that says that's not a 2-year position, or it's a outsourced position, or you're just hiring a firm to do that functionality. His recommendation was we just make our own resolution to describe how we want to do in the city.
Right now, the standard is a 2-year position.
And that's
Yeah.
because it's defined in MCA, but
Oh,
it's not one of the things that MCA precludes us from modifying or changing.
I'm okay with a 2-year position, whether it's a contract for outsourcing or.
Well, but a contract is a different thing. That's not the MCA
Oh,
really addresses that. That's kind of what we talked about is, and he said, change it so it works what you guys want to do. And you can do that as a self-governing.
so, but don't we contract with the city attorney and he becomes an employee for 2 years? So to me, it's kind of like a teacher contract. You're set for, you have a 1-year contract as a teacher, but you're still an employee during that year. And so here we have a 2-year contract for the city attorney to be an employee right now. That's what we currently have been
But right now,
doing.
we don't have an employee.
No, but I'm just saying that's
And-
what we used to do. That's what we
Yeah.
did have.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it. Do they have to be an employee the way it's written now?
The way it's written, they're an employee and a department head.
Okay.
So if it's a contractor, they're the department head, and are you contracting out for services?
We've done it both ways.
Yeah, I know we have because we had,
We have Sam Painter,
yep.
and then we've had, when we had Sam Painter, we've had different civil
Do
attorneys.
you know if there was ever an ordinance when we had Sam Painter that's already out there?
I'm not sure, that was,
My guess is we were doing it, but we didn't do it right.
that's not necessarily
Pardon?
right. I said that's not necessarily true if we weren't doing it right. I mean, because they had Sam Painter for quite a few years.
Right, because we were using
But
the
he
county
wasn't an employee, right?
we didn't have a city judge then for a while either.
No, we contracted
Contracted
with the.
Yeah,
the county.
and they
But
did
we-
the,
But when Sam was here, though, we had, Judge Moot,
okay.
so, and then after.
Did he do the prosecuting too?
Sam Painter?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
He
who
was
did?
only the civil, so we.
Oh, we had Joel,
We
didn't we?
had Joel Todd,
Yep.
I can't remember who it was before, but, so we did do the contracted, and those two were not employees. And
Right.
then when the county took over court for a while, and then when the city took back over the court part of it, that might have been when we changed to, the city attorney being an employee, because then that was when we got Becky,
Mhm.
after Joel. And then, and then after Becky, and Becky was an employee, and then Joel. But it's all how the contracts are written, I believe, because like Becky's contract was written as an employee, and she would receive same as benefits.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and to me, that's just like a teacher contract, you know, you have
Yeah.
an annual, and whether or not your contract gets renewed the next year, it depends on. So, I mean, if we need to change it so that the contract, so that it says the contract specifies whether or not they are an employee, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and that was his recommendation is make the ordinance.
Is it an ordinance or a resolution?
No, it's an ordinance, because basically what you're doing is, so what happens is, as a self-governing city, we can make rules about anything we want,
Right,
stupid or not. But until we do that, MCA is currently, I'll give you another example, that'd be a nice thing to clear up. Technically, our judge is elected by election.
Mhm.
We can say it's appointed by the mayor by ordinance. We haven't done that. The mayor has appointed it, but we haven't ever put the ordinance that says, council says, yes, the mayor can appoint the judge versus doing an election. So it's another one of those things where we just haven't done it.
So we've been doing it wrong.
We didn't ever put the paperwork in place to do it.
But our judge has never been elected. They've always been
I know,
appointed.
but the codes, MCA says that they will be, unless we pass an ordinance that says
I'm pretty sure
otherwise.
our charter says that you appoint the judge. It does.
Show me, I'd be happy to be wrong, otherwise it's just one of those cleanup pieces we have to clean up
I'm
still.
pretty sure it says appoint.
Yeah.
MTA may say that it's
Because
a
if our
by-elected.
charter says it and overwrites it, then that counts.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure past people have followed the charter.
We have our charter up, so.
We've never elected.
But I know we've done it that way, I'm just not sure it's right. There shall be a city court and a city judge as provided by law, is all it says. And then MCA says they're elected unless council passes an ordinance that says they can be appointed by the mayor. And to my knowledge, I've never been able to find that ordinance.
Was the judge appointed by the mayor?
Uh-huh.
They've
But-
always been appointed.
Oh, okay.
So I said, that's how we've been doing it. So we've been exercising our right as self-governing powers, but you're supposed to do that by ordinance if you're doing something different than what the MCA says.
Yeah,
And I don't care, it's just, I do care that we do it right.
yeah, I mean, there was a while where we didn't, we contracted with the county for our judge, so, sometimes I still wonder why we just seem to have a lot of duplication of services sometimes, so, but it's only a part-time position, isn't it, for the city?
Mhm.
So. Not like a full-time department, so. Okay, so what do we want to talk about this at the next meeting then, about if we want to create an ordinance on this?
I
Because
think
we
we
have-
have it for the notes, but I think our next
Okay.
two meetings are set and scheduled.
Right.
And to the earlier point, we've been doing it wrong for decades, so it's not a
Yeah.
yesterday thing that needs to be done.
Okay.
But it's something we
Let's
should
get
clean up while
through
we're
the
here.
budget, and then we'll talk about how we want it done. If we want them to,
And if we get a city administrator, we can say, hey,
yeah,
come back with this resolution,
Yeah.
this resolution for council.
yeah. Absolutely. So did you have any more on tonight? We'll just discuss it tonight. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other priorities, projects, or timelines of things? Anything big coming up? I just I noticed, and everybody else probably has too, a lot of posts of garbage cans, being tipped over in alleys and things like that. And a lot of people are blaming, VRBOs, that the guests aren't shutting the lids correctly. Did they put those signs on every garbage can so people can use the code? And they're just not, they probably don't have their phone with them when they're taking the garbage out, so they're not looking at it. But
it's, people don't read.
yeah, but
let alone look at a QR.
Yeah, but we're putting things in, we did have the thing to put in all the VRBOs, right?
We did, and then last year when we approved 960, when we finally got the STR stuff figured out in those two separate resolutions, I did request that Danae or somebody from the city staff update that, because there needed to be updated links to the resolution that was getting approved for that sheet.
Right.
So, and then as an STR manager, I have not received an updated version of that slip or of that mailer or, yeah.
Right,
whatever you
because
wanna
we worked
call
really
that.
hard on getting
We
that
worked
mailer.
Yeah.
Right.
It looks
It's
great, but
people
we
need
don't
to
have access to it.
people need to have that posted
Yeah.
in a place in the VRBO where people can see
It's
it.
technically by ordinance, it has to be in
Yeah.
there, but as
Right.
an STR manager, I have not received it to actually post.
Okay.
So that's one concern. The other thing too is now we're getting different cans out there, into the at properties. We've had a couple get replaced over the summer, and we have
Yeah.
pinch ones now.
Yeah, the pinch ones,
So
yeah.
I don't know if we have updated language for
Instructions.
that.
No links on the page.
Yeah, so, 'cause like I have in every single one of ours instructions on how to use the can, as well as our hotline to call us to put it in the can for them, and instructions if they can't open the can, et cetera. We have yet to have a bear issue in town. That's good. Only our south of town properties have been hit, and, that's pretty standard. But yeah, that's, otherwise we haven't had any in-town property issues. But yeah, it'd be nice to have updated language for that, otherwise we'll make it ourselves, we usually do, so.
Okay. Mayor, do you want to follow up?
Yeah,
With-
I've got that as follow-up. The one
Okay.
thing I want to add too is we have our ordinance that will go in place for in another 2 weeks, because it's basically 30 days after when we passed it.
Yeah.
I'm updating the letter, that'll be a public health and safety thing, but I'm updating the letter that we're basically giving to police and FWP that says $100 fine.
Yep.
The one question that I have, I don't remember that you guys addressed this in the ordinance, but somebody had made the suggestion or recommendation out there in social media land, I think is where it originated, that we should be finding the property, if it's an STR and it's not there, you have a really hard time finding the people that came and went. And so it's actually the property owner who's probably getting fined, and that'll put a little bit more of an onus to make sure that they're.
Yeah, I guess I would.
Does our ordinance already do that, or is that something that?
I don't know that we need to, because the property owner is responsible for the garbage can.
Does it say that clearly in the ordinance?
No.
So-
No, but, I mean, that's,
I mean, that's where the fine's going, it's not like there's,
you wouldn't know who else to find. It would definitely.
It was just a question that came up that I went, did we do that right, or do we need to tweak it?
have we actually issued fines?
No,
No.
because we can't for another 2 weeks yet.
Okay.
They just went into effect.
Yeah, so
That's what we-
I
we
would
just
just
passed
say
2
whoever
weeks
you
ago.
have on that water bill, that's who you're fining.
Yep.
Because, I mean, realistically, if it's a tenant paying the bill, like a long-term tenant, they're the one taking the fine. If it's the homeowner who's, again, it's not like STR managers are charging the guests for the water bill.
So let's go back and clarify though, because the way they did water bills a few years ago,
Yeah.
even if you're long-term, it's still the property owner.
The property owner's on it, but the tenant can pay.
Right.
But it's a legal fine, so,
So is that fine being sent out separate, or is it getting tacked onto a bill?
you get it, it's a ticket.
Okay.
Like you're getting a ticket. Like
I
the police will,
kind of like the idea of sticking it on the bill, utility bill.
No.
no,
We can't put fines on the.
Okay.
no. No, you have to give it to the property owner, or whoever is living there full-time. So I guess we may need to tweak it again. But just because of that, fact that,
I feel like if you sent it to the property owner, I think that's actually good, because even if it
Well-
is a tenant living there,
yeah,
like, that owner is going to then address the tenant. Likely, I would, if I'm a property manager or a homeowner and I get beef from my tenant, I definitely talk to them. But, I mean, I guess there's also a lot of absentee managers or owners
yeah.
that don't really care.
And it's not gonna really correct the situation if that's the case, because the person doing, it's different when it's short-term, because they're there, someone's there after every cleanup,
Yeah,
so they
well,
have more.
should be.
But a long-term rental, like you say, someone could live, down south somewhere, and it's a long-term rental, and they haven't seen their place in 3 years.
And even with a short-term rental, realistically, a lot of those folks live in Billings and haven't seen their place in 3 months, or maybe 3 years. And you have a manager, hopefully, but not everyone does. A lot of them use Evolve. So at that point, that's when you contact the emergency contact number that we're supposed to have, and then you find out they don't live here either. Sorry, that's me being salty.
Do we still have the emergency contact number?
No, for all of for every single short-term manager, or every short-term, you're supposed to have a 30-minute emergency contact.
Right.
So that's still there technically.
Yeah, no, I know that is.
You're saying we have one that number is not valid?
I'm saying that there's ones where that number doesn't actually, the person doesn't give a shit.
And they're not 30 minutes away.
And they're not 30 minutes away. I know that Danae's said before that there's folks that live in Billings that they're like, well, I'm not adding a manager, and like, they just sign off anyway. So that's, it's frustrating for someone that like does it the right way.
Yeah, no, well, and that's not okay.
Do we pull their license?
Yeah,
Well, you should,
absolutely. No, that's why we put that in place. We need an emergency contact that's 30 minutes away, and if they're not, then they can't be in business,
Yeah.
period. I mean, we passed an ordinance. I'm just getting really frustrated with things not being enforced.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, we put teeth in there. I'm like, it needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. That's,
I know, because then we end up with things, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
I'll get off my soapbox here.
No.
ahead.
What I want to say is that I agree with you on the soapbox, and what I hear out on the streets in the neighborhood or whatever is, that's true. We don't enforce the ordinances. We have them in place. They need to be enforced. And the Bears is a great example. If people start getting fined, and I know you can't do that for 2 more weeks, but once
Yeah.
people start getting fined, then I think they will be more careful.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think not having that sheet is,
Problem.
it's a huge problem.
Yeah, because again, I will say, and this is the small the small fraction of those STRs out there, but it's the ones that you're probably seeing problems with. The majority are really putting together, like, detailed information, but then you also just have people that don't read, especially this year in particular. Sorry,
Yeah.
It's early. I need a snack.
Somebody that lives, I can't remember where it was, had posted something on Red Lodge Buzz or whatever about what he does for his renters
Yeah.
or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
staying there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have detailed, like, we have it on the refrigerators, we have it in your arrival information, we have it in its own separate page of instructions how to operate it, we have videos that we've been working on that will actually just be
Well,
posted.
And I think we need to put on there, it's $100 fine, and if I were a property manager, I would say, if you do not close this garbage can and garbage is all over the alley, it's $100 fine, and I will charge that on your credit card.
Yeah.
Type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
I will pass that fee on, I'll pass that fine on to you.
Yeah.
And plus cleanup. I had to clean this up, and I would charge a labor fee for that.
Mhm.
I'd charge $500 to clean up their garbage. I'm like, oh, like, make sure this is closed.
For some of our out-of-town properties, we had to do that for a summer, where it was like, look, you don't have sufficient cans, they're broken, we've asked you to replace them. We've had to go and clean up the trash multiple times, and now it's been resolved since, but yeah, we charged them.
Yeah,
But you need to get sufficient cans, otherwise we're gonna keep charging you.
I mean, I think that's really the only way people are going to start addressing this is through their pocketbook.
Yeah.
If they start getting fines. And, I mean, yes, public, your neighbor's telling you, oh my God, you're killing the bears. I mean, yeah, that makes you feel bad, but it's your pocketbook. People respond to your pocketbook. And I think that we really need, I mean, every time I see one of those posts, I'm like, please call non-emergency number every time you see this, so that, it can be recorded, so that something can happen. Right now, they'd probably just get a warning, or like pick it up, or I don't know what they would get right now for 2 weeks, but.
Probably just the neighbor yelling at them.
Yeah, but it's just, and I mean, it happens. I mean, sometimes they're bear resistant, they're not bear proof, but when they're hitting the same can over and over again, either there's something wrong with the lock,
Mhm.
or it's not being latched right, or it's overfilled. So, and yeah, it definitely happens. I don't know. So, I guess we'll address that ordinance again.
I think just make a note and look at it and
Okay.
see. If it automatically goes to the properties, like I said, businesses relaying it onto their renters, is their.
Well, I would say we might not have to. It's the occupant that's gonna get the ticket. And if there's no occupant, it defaults to the owner, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, it would. I mean,
if
there's
it's
no,
I was
so
gonna say,
that
if
would
it's a
be,
fine.
yeah,
I
it
think
would-
it should ride with the property.
right,
And so if that's the case, if there's a ticket or essentially that would convey to the property,
I know.
not necessarily even.
But I'm thinking in the case of a long-term rental, you know, where there's an occupant there.
Right.
And they're the ones that are doing it over and over again.
I have the action to get an attorney opinion on it.
Yeah, would you please
We're
think-
publicizing it, but the
Yeah.
reality is we need city attorney to say, yes, it's written such that it does that, or here's how you need to tweak it to do that.
Okay.
So that wasn't done the first time we knew.
Well,
It was, but was not with that question wasn't raised.
Right. We were just like, if your I think it was like, if your garbage, you are required to have, and if your garbage is overfilled. So to me, I'm like, who owns the city owns the garbage, but who's responsible for the overfilling? Who's responsible for the ticket? We didn't put that part in there. I was just you, which was, to me, the occupant, you know, whoever is filling the garbage can on a day-to-day basis. But
To the neighbor.
the neighbor, yeah, right? Right, okay. All right, so, yeah. Anything else for future? Any public comment?
Nothing online.
Oh. No?
Not specific.
Okay. All right, anything else? Then we'll adjourn the meeting. I'll get out of here and go to work. Thank you, guys.
Council training.